All right, welcome everybody to our second week of the Ignatian Mind Body Lenten Retreat. Today's focus is going to be about conversion, and the Sunday Gospel was the story of the Transfiguration. So we'll be praying with that tonight in our contemplation. And I want you to pay special attention to the words that in the Lucan version, at least, the disciples are really sleepy. And when this transfiguration begins to happen and Jesus changes in front of them, and it's not until they become fully awake that they're able to really see what is happening. So when we think about in our own lives, where are the places where we might be a little sleepy for a variety of reasons? We're exhausted, we're running on fumes, or maybe we're just bored or tired, or there can be a variety of reasons, but I invite you to bring that into your reflection tonight as we continue to focus in on what is reconciliation, and what does it mean for us to embody reconciliation. I want us to put our minds towards this idea that in order to reconcile ourselves to God, we have to turn our hearts, our minds, and our souls towards God. And so our movement tonight will consist of several twists in thinking about being able to turn toward, and thinking about where is it that you normally turn, right? But we move with our belly buttons and our heart as we twist. And so to think about what direction are you moving? Are you being drawn to? When we experience the truth in various places in our life, we often talk about being able to know that and trust in that because we can feel it. Something resonates with us. And it's usually, if we really are trusting in it, it's deeper than a feeling, right? It becomes some sort of intuitive knowledge that is energizing, and we become less sleepy and more awake and more willing to take on the world. Because inconsistent living and living in contrast to the truth is so exhausting. And we sometimes get duped into thinking that it's the only way or it's the easy way. But tonight we're invited to turn our hearts towards the truth and to risk that, right? Twists aren't always very comfortable as we move into them, and be willing to see with new eyes. So in addition to twists, we'll be doing some really gentle forward folds and a couple of postures that give us a different perspective in order to be opened to the truth, to soften our hardened hearts and move into that space. So we'll move slowly and softly and gently ease into poses that wake us up, give us new perspective, so that our hearts and minds and souls can turn towards the truth and be present to it. It's a beautiful quote from BKS Iyengar, if you're familiar with Iyengar yoga. And he says, yoga doesn't just change the way that you see things, it transforms the person who sees. And I love that we have that opportunity to do that here, knowing that the work of the Spirit is alive and at work in our hearts, and that the transformation happens within us. We can't change the things around us. We have so little control over those things, but we do have this ability with God's grace to let our own hearts transform. So that's where we go this evening. I will ring the bell, and then we'll begin with our placing our fingers at our mind and at our lips and at our hearts. So let us remember that we are in the presence of a God who loves us deeply. I invite you to take a deep breath in. Arms come up over your head. Exhale, bring your hands to prayer. Let them rest on your forehead. Lord, be on our minds this evening. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and bring your hands towards your lips. Lord, be on our lips. Deep breath in. Exhale as we move our hands towards our heart. Lord, be on our hearts this evening. As you find yourself in a comfortable seated posture to begin our breath work for this evening, I invite you to set an intention for yourself, to take a moment to pause and ask God for whatever grace it is that you seek and desire this second week in Lent. Maybe it's to be more awake, or maybe it's something else that's been resting on your heart this week. And so we'll begin with our breath work as a three-part breath this evening, beginning with engaging our breath from the very bottom of our belly. The goal is to fill our entire torso cavity with breath. So we begin by opening up the belly, and you can feel your belly move and expand. Then bring your attention to your diaphragm and imagine it expanding all directions, both up and out. And then fill in the lungs. So it's a very slow and intentional breath. And then as we exhale, we'll release all of the air out the lungs, out the diaphragm, and out the belly, and you'll feel your belly pull in. So let's practice a few of those together, and then I'll give you some time to breathe on your own. If it's helpful, close your eyes, and I invite you to just breathe in that intention, breathe in that desire and grace that you seek, asking the Spirit to be with you and to guide your practice tonight. So inhale through your nose, open up through the belly, the diaphragm, and the lungs. And then exhale, lungs, empty, diaphragm compresses, and belly pulls in. Breathe in from the belly, diaphragm, and lungs, and breathe out, emptying all of the stale air from your body. Take two more on your own. If it's helpful, you can use your arms as I am doing, or just let them rest by your side. When you've completed your last breath, pause and find stillness. Allow your breath to flow with an even inhale and exhale, nothing forced or controlled. And then when you're ready, slowly transition down onto your back. Keep your knees bent, feet on the mat. And as you settle in here, feel your tailbone as it comes in contact with the ground. Feel your shoulder blades as they touch your mat and support you. And notice your breath. How are you breathing? As we switch and have gravity play on us a little bit differently, what's it like to try the three-part breath here laying down? You can rest your hands on your belly. Breathe in from the bottom of your belly, through the diaphragm, and feel your lungs rise. And then exhale, let it go. Slowly emptying the lungs, compressing the diaphragm, and getting rid of all the air in your belly. And take two more three-part breaths here on your back. When you finish that last round of breath, bring your knees in towards your chest. You can either choose to hold them loosely, maybe grabbing your knees with your hands, or you can bring them in a bit tighter and let your elbows relax around your knees. Bring some gentle movement. So maybe rocking side to side, perhaps circles with your hips and your knees. When we hear stories of conversion, they are often very dramatic. If you're doing circles, go ahead and go the other way. And I remember as a kid, in particular, feeling so overwhelmed by that because I wasn't feeling anything big and dramatic happening. Let's go ahead and bring our feet back down to the mat and extend your legs long. Then inhale, arms up above your head, so a supine mountain pose here. Reach and extend to both sides of your room. Then grab your right wrist with your left hand, move your torso over to the left, lateral stretch here, and then move both legs over to the left as well. If it's comfortable, you can cross your right foot over your left ankle. Banana pose. Let your right hip be heavy, taking time to open up the muscles all along your rib cage, your intercostal muscles, opening your hip. Pay attention to the tenor of your breath here. And see if you can relax into it. We'll hold here for about 6 breaths. And these stories of conversion can often be so dramatic and make us think that faith is all about big lightning bolt moments. But as we see in the Gospels today, in the Transfiguration, this is a big moment, but the disciples still don't quite get it. There's a slow waking up to the truth. I find that to be hard and at the same time real and doable. Even for saints who have really big moments, they still follow those with all of the small moments of recommitment. I think it's easy for us to forget that. Let's take one more breath here. Exhale as you release. Go slow here. That's a lot of stretching on the right side. Let's pause in supine mountain pose. Flex through your feet. Reach your fingers up towards the sky. Not towards the sky, towards the other side of your wall. Sorry. And now let's switch sides. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Move your torso over to the right. Then legs move over to the right. And maybe left foot crosses at right ankle. Always helpful to notice what's different on each side of our body as we build that awareness of the way that each side is and the way that each side interacts with the world. See if you can be gentle as you notice, rather than judgmental and think, oh, this is my hard side or this is the tight side. And send your breath to the places that need it. Let's do one more breath in here. And then exhale, release. Come back to center. Stretch your arms. Stretch your legs. And then as you bring your arms down to your side, we'll roll onto our bellies from here. So however you'd like to do that, to make that happen. And let's rest our hands just underneath our shoulders. Toes are flat so that your toenails are on the ground. Bring your elbows close in. Let's take 3 gentle cobras. So as you inhale, push your hips down into the mat, push your toes into the mat. Let yourself rise up slowly. And exhale, come down. 2 more like that. Breathe in. And exhale. 1 more. Breathe in. And then exhale. You can either make a pillow with your hands, or you can just bring your left ear to the mat. Pause here. Feel your belly against the mat, against the ground. And notice how your breath is flowing here, given the opportunity to expand through your back body. Let's do some work just with our legs before we go into locust. So you can bring your head so that it's neutral and rest your forehead on the mat, or you can rest your forehead on your hands. And we'll inhale our legs up. Keep them straight. Let them reach to the opposite side of the room, but your weight rolls forward so that your weight is in your hips. And exhale down. 2 more. Inhale, legs up, sort of a half Superman or Superwoman here. And exhale down. 1 more. Breathe in, lift your legs. And now let's take our arms out to the side, palms facing up, and we'll take a round of locust, lifting our chest and our legs. Breathe in, and then exhale, release. Let your arms come up like airplane arms. Neck is neutral. Let your head reach towards the opposite side of the room. Feet reach towards the opposing side. 2 more breaths here. And exhale. Make a pillow for your forehead. Pause here for 2 breaths, letting our spines become neutral before we come back into child's pose. In that small transition, we'll go ahead and bring our hands underneath our shoulders, lift up through tabletop, spread your knees wide, toes come to touch, and come into child's pose. If you're not quite ready for full child's pose, you can stay on your forearms here. And maybe just bring some gentle movement of rocking your pelvis back and forth. As we learn the ways that our body wakes up best, trust in what you are experiencing and follow suit. Two more breaths here. And exhale, release. Let's come up into tabletop. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees hip distance apart. And let's take a few rounds of cat and cow to the rhythm of your own breath. So inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest, open the shoulders. Exhale, round your spine, bring your belly button in. Two more of those. Inhale, open. And exhale, round. And inhale, open. And exhale. For neutral spine, take your hands about a hand's distance towards the top of your mat. Tuck your toes, and let's push up into the first downward dog of the evening. Push down through all 10 fingers. The space, the finger pads, and the space where your palms and your fingers meet. Feel free to pedal out here, waking up your calves. It might feel funny to talk about waking up in the evening, but depending on what your body's been doing all day, that might be exactly what it means. And then find some stillness. You can take your feet a little bit wider, about a little wider than hip distance apart. We'll add a twist here in downward dog. So for stability, it might feel helpful to put your left hand a little bit more towards the center of your mat. And then take your right hand. You can reach down and grab your left calf, thigh, foot, or maybe just reach it on the mat on the left side. Let your gaze be underneath your left armpit. And wherever your right hand is, see if you can use that as some leverage to see things a little differently. Take 2 more breaths here. And then exhale, release. Let's come back to downward facing dog. Breathe in. And as we exhale, we'll switch sides. So your left or your right hand can come more towards the center of the mat. And then left leg, left arm comes to your right leg. Gaze is out underneath your right elbow. Still pushing down with your right hand, sending your hips back. If your heels are not on the ground, it's no problem. Just seeing something a bit differently. 2 more breaths here. Come back to center. We'll slowly walk our feet up towards our hands. Take as many steps as you need. Come into a forward fold. Knees can be bent. Let your head and neck relax. Tune into the sensation in your jaw. See if you can soften. And then slowly inhale up to a halfway lift. Core is tight, spine is long. Exhale. Roll it down. Now we'll come up to stand. Take your time. Push down through your feet. Inhale, hands all the way up above your head. Bring your fingers to touch. And then exhale. And you bring your hands to heart center. Pause here. Check in with your breathing. Let's try 2 rounds of our 3-part breath here in standing. Another gravity's hitting us in another way. So breathing in from the bottom of your belly, expanding through the diaphragm, all the way up through the chest cavity. And then exhale it all out. And then 1 more on your own. And allow yourself to stand in stillness, feeling the energy of your breath as it moves throughout your body. On your next inhale, let your arms rise up over your head. Come to touch. Exhale, let's take a side bend. Right hand down towards your leg, left arm up and over. We've stretched here already. Inhale back up to center. And exhale the other side. Inhale up to center. And exhale, forward fold. Shoot your hips back. Inhale, halfway lift. And this time, let's set our hands down. Step your right leg back into a low lunge. You can uncurl your toes if that's more comfortable, up to you. And let's inhale up into Anjaneyasana. So square your hips, left knee is over left ankle. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, twist. Right arm forward, left arm back. As if somebody's got your hands on each side. Move your left hip back, scissor your legs together. Breathe in. And then exhale, we'll reach forward, place your right hand down next to your left foot, and inhale your left arm up. keeping the twist. See if you can shift your gaze up. One more breath in here. And exhale, release. Come back to center. Let's push back into half splits, opening up your hamstring, flex your toes towards you. Let your chest reach forward. Breathing in and out. One more breath in. Exhale, release. We'll come forward into our lunge again. And then have your right foot step up next to your left. Inhale. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. And exhale, hands to prayer. Let's do that for the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus your arms back. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, lateral stretch to the right. Breathe in and back to center. Breathe out, lateral stretch to the left. Inhale, tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. As you breathe out, this time plant your hands, step your left foot back. Come into low lunge. Square your hips and inhale your arms up above your head. Breathe in here. And then exhale, left hand forward, right arm back. Scissor the legs together. Breathe in. Exhale, reach forward. Plant your left hand down, right arm. Maybe take the gaze to the sky. Breathe in. Breathe. Bring your hand down. Come into the lunge and then push back into half splits. Right toes flex towards your face. Right hip pushes back. Your breaths here. On your next exhale, go ahead and walk it through. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands to prayer. Same basic idea, but we'll change it up a little bit this time. Inhale up. Exhale back. Breathe in. Lateral stretch to the right. To center. Inhale up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale down. Step your right foot back. Low lunge. Inhale up. This time we'll take a prayer twist. So bring your hands to prayer. And now right elbow will come across to the left knee. So reach forward. And then let your right elbow rest on your left knee. Push your hands together. Sometimes you need some adjustments here. And see if you can lift your heart towards your hands. Take a couple of breaths here. Our transition here will be to tuck our back toes and come into a high lunge. One more breath in here. And then as we release, we'll come up through crescent and exhale into warrior two. So left toes pointed forward, right foot parallel to the short side of your mat. Breathe in. Exhale, release, come to side angle. So this is a twist too, right? So thinking of moving your torso towards the right, looking up towards the ceiling. One more breath in here. Keep your legs where they are. Let your right hand come down to your back leg. Lift your left arm up. Reverse your warrior. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more breath in. And then exhale, release back to warrior two. And from here, we'll come into half moon. So left leg's our standing leg. Might need to take a few steps. Put the weight into your left leg. You can have a block around it in your left hand. Right arm can come to your right waist. Flex your right foot. And see if you can stack your hips. So our balance really shifts when we change our gaze from down at the ground to up. Maybe give that a try. Process of conversion is sometimes really wobbly. One more breath in here. And then as we release, bring a slight bend into your front leg and we'll come back into warrior two. What's it like to come back to a posture that you've been in after having gotten there in a different way than we did the first time? What feels similar? What feels different? Come into side angle. And then reverse your warrior. Breathe in. Breathe in. On your next exhale, go ahead and windmill yourself down. Step back into downward facing dog here. Breathing in. Breathing in. One more. Walk your feet or hop up to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift. Exhale all the way down. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands to prayer. Other side, breathe in. Exhale, cactus. Breathe in tall, lateral stretch to the back to side. Other side. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale down. This time, step your left leg back. Come into low lunge. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Lean forward. Prayer twist to the other side. Left elbow on right knee. So if you can push your belly away from your thigh, opening up some space. In here. And exhale as we tuck our back toe. Lift your back knee. Round of breath here. And then release up to crescent lunge. And then exhale, warrior two on this side. Take up some space. Make sure that your knee is over your ankle. Push down through your big toe mound. And the knife edge of your back foot. Exhale, release to side angle. Open up your belly towards the left. Gaze up. One more breath in. Exhale, arms come parallel, and then reverse your warrior. Keep the lunge in the front leg. Feel the lift through your right side body. One more breath in. Exhale, come to warrior two and prepare for half moon on this side. Take as many steps as you need. Right foot is your standing leg. Left hand can come to left hip. Flex your left foot. Stack your hips. Maybe raise your left arm up towards the sky. Maybe shift your gaze. One more breath in. And then release back into warrior two. Bend into the front leg. Back where we've been. Side angle. Release to warrior two, and then reverse. Repeating the steps that we know, but adding a little bit more depth in our breath or in our movement. Exhale, let's release down into downward facing dog. I think is a model for the process of conversion. We may have to re-walk several of the steps that we've done in order to arrive in a new place and feel comfortable there. Breathe in and breathe out. We'll move to lizard pose here. So if you like to do three-legged dog, you can do that. If you don't like this, you can just stay in downward dog. And then we'll bring our right knee through. Bring your hands on the inside of your right foot. Toe heel your right foot out to the side. Another place where blocks might be comfortable. Bring your back knee down, or you can keep it lifted. We're going to hold here for a bit, so you decide what's best for you. And then from here, three different options. You can come down onto your forearms. You can stay high and push your right knee away from you. Or you can reach back and grab your left foot, opening up in your shoulder here. Wherever you are, I want you to think about a lizard for a moment and the way that they interact with the world with these short legs and this view of the world that is so different from ours. Sometimes softening into conversion is about being willing to see the way that somebody else sees the world. Never easy, usually fruitful. Take 2 more breaths wherever you are. If you're bound, go ahead and release. Let's walk your right leg back to meet your left. If you prefer to stay in tabletop, you can do that, or come back into downward dog. We'll switch to the left leg, three-legged dog if you did it on the other side. And then release. Bring your left leg up and extend long here. If you bring your right knee down, see if you can move your right leg back just a bit and toe heel your left foot out to the side. Bring both hands on the inside. And same 3 options here. You can come down onto your forearms. You can push your leg away. Or you can you're here, you're bringing your heel towards your glute, and then you are at the same time kicking away. Places of sleepiness and gently nudging them Take 3 more breaths here. And if you're bound, go ahead and gently release. And then let's walk our left foot again back to meet our right. Take 1 more downward dog. Bring some balance. And then exhale, release down to tabletop. Gently walk your hands back. You can come into seated. Then we'll bring our knees bent, feet onto the mat. Bring your hands behind you. This is another place where I find blocks to be very helpful. We'll take a reverse tabletop just to bring some opening to our chest. And let the hands rest on blocks or on the floor. Feet are about hip distance apart. And as you inhale, push down through your feet, lift your hips, roll your shoulder blades together. We don't want our neck to fall. We want to keep it steady, but allow it to be open, and your throat to be open. 2 more breaths here. Your feet, the soles of your feet to touch. Sit up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Then exhale, we'll fold forward. So if you'd like your feet to be further away from your body, that's just fine. Just be a soft and gentle forward. Well, lizard allows us to see outside of us in such a different way. This type of a forward fold or child's pose gives us the opportunity to see internally, to get rid of sense distraction. You might even want to use your hands to buffer the light. And to be able to trust the truth that lies within us. To hear the voice of God. To come to know it and trust it. Take 1 more breath here. And as you exhale, walk yourself up slowly. We'll leave our legs in this posture, although you might need to scoot yourself down. And go ahead and come down onto your back. If you have blocks, you can rest them underneath your knees. If you like, your hands can rest down by your side or on your belly. Allow yourself to settle in here. Notice the texture of your breath. If you can tune in to the little muscles in between your ribs that have been woken up. Where are other places in your body that you can feel a little bit of awakening? Settle in here into the quiet for another minute or so before we move into our Ignatian Contemplation. You're welcome to stay in this posture, but if you feel like you might fall asleep, then I suggest slowly moving yourself onto your side, waking yourself up gently, and then coming up to seated. As I read through the story of the Transfiguration the first time, I'll read through it twice. Just pay attention to any words or phrases or colors or images that stand out to you. Allow the words to just fall on you like water. And then the second time, I'll invite you to imagine yourself as part of the story. Recall to mind the grace that you asked for at the start of class. Let that rest on your heart as you listen. About 8 days after Jesus said this, he took Peter, John, and James with him and went up onto a mountain to pray. As he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became as bright as a flash of lightning. 2 men, Moses and Elijah, appeared in glorious splendor, talking with Jesus. They spoke about his departure, which he was about to bring to fulfillment at Jerusalem. Peter and his companions were very sleepy, but when they became fully awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men standing with him. As the men were leaving Jesus, Peter said to him, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what he was saying. While he was speaking, a cloud appeared and enveloped them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. And a voice came from the cloud saying, "This is my son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." When the voice had spoken, they found that Jesus was alone. The disciples kept this to themselves and told no one at the time what they had seen. You let that story just rest on you. Call to mind words, images, maybe emotions or phrases that stand out. And as we move to listen a second time, this time I invite you to imagine that you are present in the story in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you're a character that isn't mentioned. Maybe you're a shepherd who just happens to be on the mountain. Maybe you are Peter or James or John. Maybe you're Moses or Elijah. Give your imagination permission to do its job. to find yourself here in the story. And then I'll give you some time to be quiet and to be in conversation with Jesus about whatever happened in the story. About 8 days after Jesus said this, he took Peter, John, and James with him and went up on the mountain to pray. As he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became as bright as a flash of lightning. 2 men, Moses and Elijah, appeared in glorious splendor, talking with Jesus. They spoke about his departure, which he was about to bring to fulfillment at Jerusalem. Peter and his companions were very sleepy, but when they became fully awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men standing with him. As the men were leaving Jesus, Peter said to him, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what he was saying. While he was speaking, a cloud appeared and enveloped them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. A voice came from the cloud saying, "This is my son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." When the voice had spoken, they found that Jesus was alone. The disciples kept this to themselves and told no one at that time what they had seen. Give yourself a few minutes of quiet to imagine yourself in the presence of Jesus, and to be in conversation with him. Maybe about your desire, maybe about something that came up in the scripture. As you work to close that conversation, maybe it's not an end, but just a pause for now. And certainly a conversation that you're welcome to return to at any point in your week. Maybe returning to the story itself and picking up from there. Bring our hands to our hearts in gratitude for the ability to use our imaginations and for the ability to express our desires and our hopes. And just pray for each of you this week that God can be on your mind, guiding and leading your thoughts, moving them towards love, towards the path of truth. May God guide our words, opening us up to compassion and thoughtfulness, remembering the person receiving them on the other end. And may God live in this space in our hearts. And can we feel connected and trust in this love that is us. Thank you for being with me tonight. I wish you a wonderful week, and I look forward to being with you next week. Our theme this week is be not afraid, because this road is a little nerve-wracking. So peace and love, everyone. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Kate.